Hello and welcome to this World Electrolysis Congress pre-event interview. I'm joined by Frithjof Kublik, Managing Director and CEO of KEC International. Welcome, Frithjof.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation, Juan, and happy to kind of go through your questions that you have.
Okay, brilliant. So just to give our audience some background, could you just give a bit of insight to yourself and some of the work you've done in the hydrogen market as well as KEC International?
Yeah, happy to do that. As you mentioned, I am the Frithjof Kublik, the Managing Director of KEC Energy International, the management consultancy company for business development in the energy transition space for projects, and with a strong focus on green hydrogen projects. Myself, I have a background of more than 25 years working for Shell International in Germany and all across the world in the energy business, starting in the refining, then building the renewables business in PV, solar, wind, and hydrogen. Worked in biofuels and spent a lot of time in gas LNG and upstream. In gas LNG, I've developed LNG projects, especially for the export from the US. And these projects are good references actually for the place where the green hydrogen projects are going. Now going to the hydrogen space, green hydrogen space, in the last 10 years, we have developed and implemented the Refine 10 megawatt project for Shell in the Energy Park Rhineland in Germany, and the Refine 2 project with 100 megawatt in Rhineland as well. And we have been doing several projects in the 100 plus megawatt space for the use in the energy business. And these projects have been supported until the investment date. And with this, gives a bit of background with a strong focus, and happy to talk through the business in green hydrogen that gives you further insights what we are doing.
Thank you. So that's a wealth of background from the renewable space and obviously the green hydrogen space more recently. What of the challenges that you've seen in the market, since you've been working in the green hydrogen space? And are there any that are related to when you previously worked in biofuels, PV, solar, etc.?
Yeah, I think we are moving more and more in the same space. But let me first of all give you a bit of a view how I see where the green hydrogen market is standing, because I see three types of projects that are being developed. First of all, there are projects in this 10 to 50 megawatt range, like the Refine one, which was one of the earliest and biggest in Europe at the time. But there are more in this space, and they are focusing actually on fast development of green hydrogen, and often to the transport business, meaning buses, trucks, trains, ships, and small businesses. And they have their own challenges. But first of all, that's one group. I will talk about the challenges in a minute. The second group is actually the projects which are in this 100 to 300 megawatt range, or maybe up to 500. And they are focusing actually on the green hydrogen for the use in industry. And industry means refining, which is less talked about in energy transition, but chemical industry is a very strong focus on, and steel industry. And sometimes they have also a combination with transport, but the main area is actually industry. And then we talk about the third group, and these are really large-scale projects in the 500 plus megawatt scale, being developed at places with low-cost renewables, and will take some time to implement. And there are multi-billion developments, and we see more and more of those projects being developed. And I will talk about the challenges on these projects as well. And going now to the challenges. In the first group, actually, the challenges are that we need to follow where the developments are going with respect to buses, trucks, trains, ships. Because there's competition, or not competition, or the question is, where is this going? Will it be electric? Will it be hydrogen? What is being offered? So these are kind of challenges, because without offerings of buses, trucks, trains, ships, it is difficult to develop these projects. Then there's a challenge of power connection. So I think there is competition for power supply in special areas. And so I've been doing a project in the Frankfurt area, and there is a lot of developments in the IT industry, digitization, and they require a lot of power, and there is a lot of demand on that. So it's not so easy to get such a power connection. And the last one, which is kind of for all, is a low cost or the high cost of green hydrogen, which means that you need to have access to low cost renewables, and you need to have access to financial support, being investment support or OPEX support. So I think that there are a number of challenges for these smaller projects. And for the medium size, at the earlier days, large scale, but the 100 to 300 megawatt projects, there are additional challenges coming in through the track record of electrolyzers for a longer period of time, because investment is getting higher. So expectations are that they are more reliable, that you can kind of work with them, and that you know how they are going to perform, but there's hardly any track record available. Then it goes also in the area of expertise in the engineering, building of these plants, because it's not only electrolyzer, but a lot of stuff around it. So how to bring that together and how you save costs around this. Then access to financial support. I think there is financial support available, but it's not so easy to get access to, especially OPEX. Hydrogen Bank, for example, to give one example. And again, access to low cost to renewable. Finally, the large projects, which we see, we have been talking about those more over time, but I think some of them are getting more shape as we speak. And these 500 plus megawatt projects, there are examples, for example, the green steel project in Sweden, but there are others. Most of them are sitting in locations where you have access to low cost renewables, like, for example, Portugal, like, for example, Morocco, North Africa, or Namibia or Canada, but also in Europe, in the southeast of Europe, for example, Bulgaria. There are good places for that, and they are being developed. So challenge is that these projects need to be framed, that have a long development time. You need to have a partner strategy. You need to have to think through the complete chain from power to offtake. And you need to have financing, which is a big point, because $1 billion investment or more needs financing. But that is all kind of maturing. We see more of this happening. So in summary, there are sufficient challenges for the whole industry, but they can be tackled. I think that was probably also the question that you had. How do we go about these challenges? And again, through going through the three group of projects, the smaller ones, they are quite important with respect to development of the technology and maturing of the electrolyzers. And it's very important that you need to do these projects to secure your customers, because there will be a ramp up, and these smaller projects are good for the ramp up. So it's important to kind of secure your customers and to help them through ramping it up. But at the same time, it's very important to kind of think through the future. How can you expand your business? How do you get access to low cost green hydrogen through pipelines, for example? There's a backbone being developed in Germany, which is kind of already in being developed and financed, and going to be in place by 2032. And you need to follow the OEM market and to find out where to build these projects. But that is how you develop these projects, that you secure the customer early on. In the larger ones, these kind of 100 plus megawatt projects, it is very important to follow every single project that you have in this space, because every single project, and we have seen a number of FIDs like the Refine 2, but we have also seen a couple of projects from RWE with Get H2 and a few others in Europe. And you need to see how they are being implemented, how they are performing, because every project is a reference and there's learning. Then in that space, you need to engage with all manufacturers, find out what their reference projects are, what their kind of approach is for building the larger electrolyzers, Do they do that in building blocks? Where is the technology standing? What is their development plan? How they are kind of making the stacks larger? And how do they de-risk the manufacturing of larger projects? And then finally, I think you need to engage with engineering companies. They are very much interested, often coming out of the LNG business, to do such projects and to see how you can set up a professional project. And as I said, we see a number of these projects being implemented now, and that is very fascinating to see how it is happening. The last one, the big projects, I can only kind of emphasize the point to frame these projects early on in a good way, to find out what the risks are, what is missing, where the economics are, whether you have chosen the right location. You need to follow a bit of a similar approach like a large LNG projects, and everybody who has been working in LNG knows that this can take a long time. But we have seen many large projects being kind of implemented over the last decades. You need to think through the supply of power. The electrolyzer is one part of it, but you need to kind of continue to think through the offtake routes. Will it be ammonia? Will it be methanol? Will it be a pipeline? Where is it standing? How do I secure the connections? Do I need to partner with other projects in the environment to save costs? These type of things are key. And then you need to go also into financing to be able to answer all the questions that banks might ask before giving you any financing. So I think enough to be done. And in this space, we are, of course, working. And maybe finally, to kind of round it a bit off, to find out where I believe where we are all standing all together. In principle, I believe we are in a good space, in a positive space, although the expectations in the last 2 to 3 years were not fully met, meaning it has been taking longer on the regulatory side. It has been taking, for example, the definition of green hydrogen, but now it is in place, so that is very positive. And on the IPCEI, important projects for common European interest, that has been taking also much longer than anticipated, but it's now kind of also in place. And with especially in this year, with the FIDs that we have seen this year, I see that we are on a good path for the development, and we will require more track records. We will require more experience. We will require upscaling of stacks and electrolyzer industry, but they need the market. They need to kind of the demand. We need a better integration of the systems. There's a huge optimization possible. So there's a lot to come and to happen, and we are in early days, but I see that things are maturing. There's more realism coming into this. And if I'm looking into the pipeline of projects, there are more than enough projects in the pipeline worldwide. If they mature, the future will be excellent. But it will take some time because not every project will go through the finish line. And if I make finally the comparison to LNG, in LNG, it has been taking 20 to 40 years to mature, to get to these projects. And there we have been going through a big scale until it has been going to a smaller scale, finally, due to costs. And here, I think it will not take as long because we don't have the time. It will be going much faster. But all in all, there's more to be done. The group of people being interested and the suppliers, we see that in the conference, in your conference, in next year, you will see it again, is broadening. There are more players coming into it. All this is very positive, and I'm very positive of the development of green hydrogen because there is not too many alternatives to it.
Okay, brilliant. And thank you, yeah, for going over all those points. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So thank you for your time today, Frithjof.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Well, thanks for having me, and it was a pleasure to give you some of my thoughts and to share my views with you. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. And for those watching who'd be interested in meeting Frithjof or hearing some more expertise on the field of electrolysis, yeah, please join us at World Electrolysis Congress 2025. It'll be taking place in Cologne from February 10th to February 13th. So yeah, thank you again, and see you next year.
Thank you.